StreamYard 2 is just coming up. Here we are, live broadcast. And welcome to the Car, Sim and Race Driver Show with me, Hugh Hattrick, and my very special guest, Andrew Marr. Hello, Andrew.
Oh, sorry, hello. I've just joined you on
Podbean as well.
Podbean,
Fantastic.
But from my phone. So
excellent. Oh, that's great. That's super. So everyone should be able to hear us on both, hopefully. Wherever you are in the world, you're listening to the Car, Sim and Race Driver Show. Thank you for joining with us. And we are live streaming on Podbean and also on StreamYard, which is going on to YouTube as well. And there's been so much going on in F1 this week. We've got lots of interesting topics to talk about. And we've got a very, very special new affiliate. Have a guess, Andrew, what our new affiliate is.
Well, it's not going to be the Ferrari Formula One team, is it?
Well, if they would give us money, that would be amazing. We could siphon off even a couple of percent would be all right.
Racing place anywhere near Leeds? Could it be that?
It's not. No. The simtrack.co.uk, which is a fantastic place and definitely one we would recommend. No, this is for all racing drivers or anyone as well who likes gaming, whether it be on PlayStation, on Xbox, on PC, and all those kind of gaming platforms. We have a new affiliate with cdkeys.com. Now, you can see it in our comments here. It should be coming up on YouTube, and I've also put it on our one here. It should be there. Oh, let me just double check. Actually, it probably isn't there. I will put it on there right now so we can. Oh no, I put the wrong one on. Oh, I've just put your email up there by accident.
Yes,
sorry
I've just noticed that.
I don't know if I can take that away. It shows you
20,000 million.
There we are. I will quickly cdkeys.com /MW. Yes, it is a very, very good offer that we have, because for all of you who like to play PlayStation games, you can get 12 months PlayStation Plus for just £36. It should normally be nearly £50, and they do phenomenal deals on everything, on all kind of games and all your kind of needs there. So it's definitely well worth a click. And you can help support the show in the process.
Excellent.
So there we are. That should be it there. I've just put it down there. So hopefully that should work. If that does, if it doesn't, go onto YouTube, and I'll make sure it's in the description. So there you have it. But and I will this time. I will check the comments, because what was very funny last week, and it was a bit of an accident. The comments section had been a little bit quiet at the start of the show when it was Andrew Dixon, and we were kind of getting carried away watching on YouTube and doing all our stuff there, and we forgot to check the comments towards the latter part of the show. And to our amazement, we looked on, and there were all these comments, and there were some clean, some not so clean, who were kind of saying, "Please respond to the comments." So we're very, very sorry. We do apologise. We completely forgot to check them. And by the time we did, it was the end of the show. So our apologies go out to you. We'll make sure that we check the comments right the way through and try do our best to respond to them. Well, what an incredible week for Formula One. Lots of teams have been launching their new cars. We've had Ferrari on Tuesday. We had Mercedes revealing their livery on Monday. And we've had Red Bull also revealing their car yesterday, and it was a shakedown at Silverstone. Did you happen to see the one at the Ferrari one on Tuesday night?
I saw, I did watch that, and I listened to some of the comments before I fell asleep. I find that the launch is a little bit. It's interesting. I was reading today that Renault have refused to do a launch. They've done a few.
That's right, some pictures, haven't they?
Pictures and a couple of little snippets of interviews on social media, because they, and I quote, F1 car launches, they are fake. And this is Cyril Abiteboul, who I've decided I love. I've seen him on the telly, obviously, and I quite like him anyway, but he's the managing director of the Renault F1. And he's the response of the public is sort of because all you do is you get this car coming out.
It's just a very small picture of it and a kind of outline.
So they've kind of gone, well, we're not doing it.
Yeah.
You'll see the car when it's on the track.
Because testing is this next week, not too long at all. It's over in Barcelona. It should be quite good.
Seeing how they go. So it's interesting that Verstappen and Christian Horner like the car after that shakedown, having a go in it.
Second year with Honda. I have to admit, going on to the Ferrari launch, it was hilarious. I mean, you got to trust the Italians that they have lots of classical music and a big build-up, and then they have some people coming on doing some acrobatics at the same time. And it is very funny. It just reminds me, it's almost like the Eurovision of motor racing. It's like, here comes Romania, coming in doing something like that, so nobody quite understands, and you're left wondering. And it's no offense to anyone in Romania, but it is kind of, it is something that does.
It's going to be some kind of cheesy.
It never quite works, and I always think the Formula One launches are kind of similar to that. Is that they never quite work. They always look slightly ridiculous. And then the thing is, they had some chap who was speaking from the Ferrari, and he was the most boring man you could ever listen to. And they had
why I don't like to watch them, because it is boring. And I mean, the bits I saw were the comments by the drivers, which were, again,
it's all very. It's the same. It's all business speak.
I want them to swear. I want Verstappen, not Verstappen, but
you're like James Hunt to be smoking a cigarette in the background and with his.
I want him to get beeped out and look at everyone and go, "No, you're like you, all of you." That's what I want. It's what we all want, because they're just normally. I want anyone to do that. It's like listening to a politician. You're just like, who? What? What are you lying about now? So so today was the McLaren, the MCL 35.
Looks nice, I have to say. It does look rather nice.
I mean, that's got some nice little bits of blue to break up that hideous orange.
Yeah, but of course, the hideous orange was its original colour, wasn't it? But it's. I think
hideous before.
For people that share the same age as you and I, who followed the Formula One in the 90s and things like that, who've kind of grown through that era, we kind of go back to the kind of, we want the white and red Marlboro classic with Ayrton Senna, that McLaren, that red and white is kind of what we remember. And also with Prost and at that time, and it was Prost and Mansell and the whole lot driving in those years, Prost and Senna in 88 and so on. That's kind of the era that I think we kind of sit with. I'm not sure the orange is, I mean, yes, it's very modern, and it also harks back to the original design. Was it Jack? What was the name of the chap? Who was it?
Bruce.
Yeah, Bruce McLaren, who was the original designer and brought up the orange colours. But certainly I prefer the white and red. Even the silver, when the McLaren was the McLaren Mercedes, was a bit better. I think it was a kind of nicer colour.
They look really nice in those days, I thought. Big McLaren fan back in the day. So
yes, even when they had Peugeot engines. Remember when it was Peugeot?
That was right. That was when I was first coming. That was a disaster.
94, 95, when they used to pop.
That was a disaster. It really shouldn't have happened. And then they got the Merc engines and things all changed.
Yes, they were a lot better.
They weren't Mercedes engines. They were Ilmor, weren't they? They were British engines. Not German at all. Very powerful engines. And then they changed the rules on whether you could use barium, I think it was. Barium boron in the alloy. And they did. So the engine, it couldn't rev as high. It wasn't as strong for the weight, and they lost a bit of an edge there. But it was a pretty good engine. So Mercedes bought Ilmor Engineering when Ilmor, I can't remember his first name, died. The co-founders of the company. That's now part of AMG, but it's still based in Britain. It's still the British company.
Yeah,
English company. So
that's all right. We're fully national along up here. I mean, it's all part of Great Britain. But now our big question for tonight.
You're from the borders. You're not, the Scottish nor English, are you?
Yes, we were the biggest vote for the Union. We were the biggest vote for the Union in that referendum all those years ago. So moving on from that, so we don't get our big question for tonight is, what circuit would you like to see back on the calendar to replace China? Now, this was kind of a question we asked a little bit last week, but unfortunately didn't see all our answers. So, for all you lovely listeners and viewers who are watching just now and listening just now, what circuit would you like to see replacing China? Because it looks like I don't think they're going to be able to replace it. I don't think they're going to be able to put it at another time. It's going to cause too much.
Vietnam's looking a bit dodgy as well, because that's next door.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I hadn't thought about that.
They've had possible coronavirus there.
Have they had some cases of it? Yeah, but
so, you know,
they'll have to be careful. Yeah, but you suggested a track.
I did
the other day, and I thought, actually, you're spot on. Definitely, I would go with that one. Have a guess. Have a guess to our listeners. What could it be? It was on the calendar about 10 years ago, and Sebastian Vettel and Mark Webber had a very big coming together at that track.
And we can give them a little clue to people who know famous corners. Because there's a famous corner.
Oh yes, is it the turn 5?
No.
And turn 9? Turn 8.
Turn 8.
That's right, because it was on the 4 and it has four corners,
super fast corner that everybody loved because it was such a challenge. The idea that you went in and went, I hope this works. You know, and it's the double apex as well. So you can ace the first apex, but you've got to get everything perfect so that you don't go off the track in the middle, but you still then ace the second apex when it's unseen. It's blind, you can't see it. And it's so fast. It's like, what's the other massively fast, stupid corner? 130.
Oh, Rouge. Oh, you went 130. Yeah.
No, Rouge that's something else, though, isn't it? But I'm in a kind of a sweeping. You go in fast and hope for the best. Whereas Rouge, it's I suppose it is a similar kind of thing. You're bottoming out. You go as fast as you can. But these days, because there've been some kind of complaints that the cars are so sticky now, so good that they go through Eau Rouge flat, which is why it's such a shock when the likes of that young lad died last year, because Eau Rouge bit him.
I think that was a lot of complications because I think one or two cars in front had issues, and that's what caused the reaction and so on and all that. The online, it was a horrendous occasion. But for those who are listening and watching, have you guessed the track? It is, of course, Turkey. That's right. It was the Turkish Grand Prix, and that's where Mark Webber and Sebastian Vettel had that huge coming together. But I think that would be a great circuit, actually, wouldn't it? That would be really good.
And Turkey, is a lovely country. Whatever problems it's got and whatever politics go on there, it's a lovely place to go.
Yeah.
And
I think it's fairly stable.
Baku, it's such an exotic location.
Yeah.
And that part of sort of the border between East and West,
Aye.
Wow, I'd love to go there. I'd love to experience, and the weather's always going to be good there, isn't it? It's not going to rain.
I don't think imagine a wet Baku GP. That would be incredible, because you won't be able to see anything, because you got all they go up and down quite a bit at that track, and that bit where it goes round the castle, it's so tight. There's literally room for one car only, and they've crashed a couple of times last year. A few people,
glad to go. All the best ones.
Aye, because it's so tight and it gets narrower and narrower, and then they have to turn left to go up the chicane. And it always looks spectacular. And a few of them missed it and went into the wall. Thankfully, they were at quite slow speed, so it's not too bad.
It's not super fast. It ruins the race because they always lose a wheel, don't they? It's never. It's never just a bit of a tap and off you go. It's oops.
And they'll lose a front wing as well and things like that. So that could be a great one. So Turkey would definitely be one. And I was thinking, how about the Nürburgring GP? Which is obviously they've used Hockenheim for the last few years, but that lost its contract at the end of last year. Okay. So I was thinking that would be quite an interesting one, because the Nürburgring GP, that was always quite a good Formula One circuit. And the thing is that the German government spent hundreds and hundreds of millions. There was a big scandal about it. They spent all this money on it, and then it never got used. But now they put the big simulator conferences on there. There was a big sim conference last year. I really wanted to go. I'm not sure if it's in the same place this year or not. Perhaps our listeners might know if that is the case. It'd be great to know. And it was spectacular. They made it's like a kind of motor show type thing. So you've got this indoor conference hall, which is all the like Bentley and all these amazing manufacturers and things. And then they have a big arena to put on their F1 esports and all that kind of stuff. And then they had all the simulator rigs and all the people who sell them and build them in another room. And it was a huge big hall. And it looks fantastic. So I think that's FIA approved still. I think I'm right in thinking that...
it was modernised to the standard of a modern F1 circuit, wasn't it? Because a lot of people talk about things like Brands Hatch and that kind of thing and Donington. But they can't be used because they don't have the runoff areas and they don't have the facilities that modern F1 demands. So to do that, you'd have to completely remodel the whole of these brilliant historic circuits. Whereas, as you say, the Nürburgring, the new, it's up to spec, isn't it? It's
and quite often you get
used.
You get bad weather there. Quite often you get terrible weather. And there was one when Hamilton went out and then he crashed in qualifying. He's had some quite big, but he is. I mean, it'd be interesting if he gets a good run there. It would be a great race. He's got that horrendous first corner that's off camber and causes all sorts of issues. But I think that would be a great race. Other than that, I'm not sure. I mean, unless imagine if you could have 2 Italian Grand Prix. I'm sure the Italians would quite like that at Monza twice. That would be quite. But I think they should.
They used to have 2 Italian Grand Prix, didn't they?
With Imola,
San Marino Grand Prix, and the Italian Grand Prix, and one was at Imola and one was at Monza. So
that's the thing. Do it again? No. Now, to all our viewers and listeners, I am carefully watching the comments here in case I've missed anything. So remember, you can comment here on Podbean if you're listening live via the app, or you can go onto YouTube and you can comment there as well. And we should see it on StreamYard, as that's the platform that we're streaming it all from. But it is live on YouTube as well. So let us know your comments. Now, at the moment, my website, hughhattrick.com, is just being changed. It's being updated. So over the next couple of weeks, we will see some new, it'll be completely redone and it will be brand new and it will have lots of great offers and it will look spectacular. That's what I've been promised. So that will, at the moment, if you want to email us, the best one to do is podcast@cardealadvisor.co.uk, which is our old email address, but we will check that as well. If you have any hints or clues or any questions at all about the show or things you would like us to talk about, that's the email to email us on. So back to Formula One. Over to you, Andrew.
Well, we also like to have a little chat about Fernando Alonso, don't we? And he's got this goal. I can't think of the word there for a second. This is good, isn't it? English. He's got this goal of doing the Triple Crown, hasn't he? Of winning Le Mans because he's won Monaco and winning the Indy 500. The problem is that, as you alluded to the last time we had our little conversation, he came out with a few comments about the Honda engine, did he not?
That's right.
GP2 engine. Yeah. And that specific comment has scuppered his chance of being in this year's Indy 500 because there's 2 engine manufacturers in the Indy 500, Chevrolet and Honda. And Honda have said, well, you're not going to be driving for any team we power. So that's left him with Chevrolet. And basically everyone said no.
Goodness.
Or so far. So that's not going to help. And what's the point of him even joining it if he's not going to be in a team that's capable of winning? Because he wants to win it. He doesn't want to just go round and round there like he did in Formula One for his last couple of 3-4 years.
I still think he's looking to come back to Formula One, though.
He wants
this unfinished business.
2021. He said that he had offers for 2020, but he turned them all down because he didn't want to come back yet.
All right.
But he wants to come back in 2021. So that's great.
I think he can do it. I think he's fit enough and talented enough to be right up there.
Well, he's kept driving, hasn't he? He's done Le Mans. He's done. He's not retired like Schumacher retired. Back. He's come out of F1 but carried on driving at top level sport. So, yeah, absolutely. I don't know where he'd go. Who'd have Ferrari won't have him again.
Yes, I wonder if Mercedes, unless Bottas was to go, I don't know, but I think that might be just too much of a clash. Unless it was Red Bull, if he went next to Verstappen, Alonso, that would be quite interesting, wouldn't it?
I mean, that was all
that's Honda,
wasn't it? It was a lot of talk about Alonso going to Red Bull, but it's the same old problem. It's the same old. You know, Christian Horner's not a fool. Toto Wolff's not a fool. They know that they've got the star and they've got the championship winning package, car and driver in Max Verstappen and in Lewis Hamilton. And all, you know, Mercedes have got the advantage. They've got a fairly decent backup driver, you know, Bottas 3.0 as he is now. He was 2.0 last year, and I've got to see the photograph. Apparently, it was on Planet F1 and on Twitter. They've done as I guess as a gag, because when he was 2.0, he came back with a beard and was eating porridge. Apparently, porridge was the power thing, and now he's eating more porridge, more coffee, and his beard is like a foot long. So,
oh yes, I saw that. He looked like something out of Vikings.
Yeah,
didn't it? So it was that kind of
3.0 that's going to win.
I don't know if it'll work. If he's going to wear a helmet and then a balaclava and all that beard, I'm not sure.
I don't think that it may not be his real beard. That's quite long to grow.
Yeah, they might have to shave that one off or get rid of that. That's maybe a fake.
.com. I think we've got a makeup artist to help out there, perhaps. You know.
But no, it's good. It's going to be interesting. I think it could be a great year, the last year of the current regulations. So I think it's going to be really quite interesting to see how they get on. The testing, you never quite know, because I think they do sandbag a little bit, and others go underweight, like Williams. Williams will have nothing in that car. So,
I mean, have you heard anything about the Williams team? Because I've not. I mean,
all I've heard is that they're desperate to do better.
I mean, it's Williams. They're going to be. Whatever you can say about Claire and whatever you can say about Sir Frank. Competitiveness isn't something they're lacking. I don't think Claire sits there going, "Yeah, it's nice at the back." I'd be frightened. I would imagine be quite strict and stringent. You know.
Now, we've got our first comment of the night. From Ants Salamino. He said the beard is for aerodynamic purposes.
Thank you, Ant.
Yes.
My beard or Bottas?
I don't know. Does your beard make you drive faster? That's
at the moment, but when I get a car again, it will.
Yeah, that's the thing.
When I get, I follow Jason Momoa on Instagram because he's mad. And he loves bikes, and he's got a lot of hair and doesn't wear a helmet because he's nuts and American. And the latest thing I saw was him and a bunch of nutters, friends, doing ice racing on Harley Davidsons with chunky, knobbly tyres. And I don't mean off-road Harley Davidsons, just Harley Davidsons. They're doing all the stuff like you do on Speedway, but they're on snow and ice. So I reckon it's beard that helps him do that.
Yeah, he looks like somebody you certainly wouldn't mess with, isn't it? He's certainly.
He's a big man.
He was Aquaman, wasn't he? He played the Aquaman.
And Conan the Barbarian.
For both.
Said both.
Yeah. Well, I was in the middle of watching a film, actually. He was a Cindy Braven, which is quite good. I don't know when it was out, but it was on Amazon. And they go out to the woods up into the hills. He lives in America, and his father has dementia. So he goes up to the woods to this cabin to try and help him get a bit of time alone, kind of thing. And then all these dodgy drug dealers have left drugs in his house and so on. And so I hadn't quite finished the movie. I'll be seeing it maybe tomorrow at some point, finishing it off. But no, he's good. He's a good actor. But now I wanted to quickly say, because some of our viewers and listeners, I've been studying the statistics of our podcast show and video show. And would you believe that the biggest number of followers and viewers are American? So we have the biggest viewership is from America. I think it's something like 40% are from America. And then on about 30% is from Britain. It's from the UK. So our fellow Brits are in hot pursuit in second place. So to all of our viewers all around the world, we've got them from Norway, from Sweden, and we had one, believe it or not, from India as well. So wherever you are in the world watching this or listening, thank you so much. It's great to have you with us. We hope that you're enjoying the show. If it's the first time to the Car Sim and Race Driver Show, I'm Hugh Hattrick, and that is Andrew Marr. And we have a couple of other hosts, Andrew Dixon and also Jonathan Sutherland, who join us every so often as well. Andrew normally does every second week, just like what you do as well, Andrew. But how could you describe our show for a first-time listener or viewer?
This is where an idiot like me gets the opportunity to be a fool in public and talk about our favourite subjects.
Exactly. So we're Formula One enthusiasts.
Enthusiasts and grumpy old men. Really, that's the point, isn't it? There's too many young people talking now. We need some old people, to really talk nonsense and laugh a lot. And
that's what we do. I always remember we went to Knockhill about 2 or 3 years ago, and they had the Formula 3 championship that we're racing there, and all the drivers are, they're about 15 or something, and they look absolutely like they're still at school or still at primary. And I went there with Jonathan, and he was so jealous. It was hilarious because of course Jonathan has done a racing license and has gotten out there, and they were having all these press conferences with the drivers, and I jokingly said to Jonathan, look, I'll get you a picture with them all, and they'll sign it for you and say, good luck, you can join the seniors team, And he was not impressed, and he says, don't you dare get me that for my Christmas and my birthday. So I've always threatened him, though, that I might just get that one year. And so that was the thing.
As a big old man, you'd get in a car like that, and you'd be absolutely destroyed by all these 13-year-olds because they're so much faster than they are.
Well, they're so light. That's the thing. They're so thin. You look at racing drivers now, and they don't have any weight on them at all. It's quite a thing, isn't it? But
I'm the same height as Mark Webber. They're both 6'2".
All right.
I remember he's about as tall as you can get in a car. I think the tallest they had was Justin Wilson, who died in America.
That's right. Yeah.
Justin, I think Palmer was his manager, and they did this crowdfunding to get him.
That's right.
He got him. He was in the Minardi.
Yeah.
But the biggest problem they had is that he was 6'3", and to get his head in the right place to not interfere with the airflow into the airbox, that's practically lying down, and he was only just within regulation, because in the modern Formula One cars you've got to have your feet behind the
wheels, isn't it, or the
wheelbase. So they couldn't have had anybody taller in there because he physically couldn't fit in the wheelbase of the car.
Yeah.
So, he was a good driver that just didn't fit into Formula One. He did very well in America until, the tragedy of him dying a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that was really short, because he did show a lot of promise in Formula One. I mean, he was seen as maybe a possible for McLaren at one point. I'm sure he was trying to do stuff in McLaren.
No, he was. It's like we've said. It's not just talent that gets you into Formula One. You need money.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but Lance Stroll, come on. I'm not saying that he's not good enough to drive in Formula One, because he does a good job.
Mm.
But would he be in Formula One if his dad couldn't buy a team? I'm not sure he would. There's more talented drivers out there that have disappeared because they haven't got the money. Kubica, the reason why he was in Williams is he had massive sponsorship. And the sponsors have gone with him to Alfa Romeo, where he's reserve driver, and he's going to be doing DTM at the same time.
Yeah.
Driving for BMW.
So,
money's king. Money's king.
That's quite big. One of the other topics actually I was going to say was Ocon is coming back into Formula One. Yes, at Renault. And, there was an interesting piece in Autosport that was saying that he was so busy, almost destroyed him last year when he was this reserve driver for Mercedes. Because he had to do all this simulator driving, and then he would do testing at the tracks and different things as well for the Grand Prix. And at one point, he was actually going for 2 days without sleep because of all the traveling commitments and all the work he was doing. And I thought that must have been quite dangerous, because it's fair enough if you're on a simulator and you're not driving the real car, you might just manage it, but you can't have someone who's, completely lack of sleep going in and driving a proper Formula One car.
If you're that tired, you're not going to be representative. You're not going to be able to develop the car because the whole thing about it is it's your brain, isn't it? I mean, these guys are fast because of the way their brain works. It's not. It's physical in one sense, but really, why are they able to take the lines and the reactions and all this kind of stuff? Is all how their brain works, isn't it? So if you're knackered, how are you going to be able to do it? You're not going to be up to speed, up to scratch.
Yeah.
So that's nuts. I mean, I remember Jackie Stewart saying that the reason why he retired the way he did is he ended up having some kind of blood poisoning, wasn't it? And
was it like septicemia or something? Was it?
Yeah, he was really quite ill because he was doing Can-Am in America and he was doing Formula One. And in those days, they all did loads of different types of driving. And he worked out he spent more time in the air than the pilots.
Goodness, all that traveling.
Just burnt out.
Yeah, and you pick up colds and all sorts of stuff on the planes, and all the air conditioning, and it always kind of turns it around. No, it's quite a thing.
Body can't fight the illnesses, can it?
Yeah. No, it's quite
that's just nuts. That's too much. I know they get paid a lot of money, but still, it defeats the object of having that level of driver, doesn't it?
Aye. I'm just checking the comments here, and we've got lots of people coming in, listening in, which is fantastic. But I'm just waiting because I'm going to make sure that I don't miss the comments like I did last week. They had to be edited out.
Are you paranoid?
I am very paranoid.
The Ferrari is called the SF1000 when the last one was the SF90. Bit of trivia for you.
No. What's the answer to that?
This year they will, at some point this year, do their 1000th race.
Wow!
So to celebrate, I think that's stupid because just changing the naming structure of it's like
Well, I was around when they did the video of Grand Prix 500 because that was back in the late 80s. And I remember someone lent me the video of Grand Prix 500, and that was celebrating 500 Grand Prix.
Did they call the car SF500? No, they didn't. I'm saying that. I don't actually know. Did they? Did they call it 500?
I really don't know. I don't think they did.
I mean,
that might be at the time.
You've got a structure.
Yeah. Aye. So that's the thing. Have you seen this is more for our American viewers as well and listeners. For IndyCar, the new IndyCar looks fantastic. Actually, they've got a different instead of having this, the device to save their head. Not the hands device, but the kind of visor thing. The Halo. Yes, they've got a kind of full screen version, and it comes right the way through. I think Red Bull had tested something like that.
Oh, that's what they did, and they proved it, and it worked, and it looked a hell of a lot better, and it didn't get in the way.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't go for that.
It wasn't invented by Ferrari, duh. Who invented that silly tripod? Ferrari. It looks like the day of the Triffids. You're doing 200 mile an hour and you come into a corner and you need to, and this thing's there. You seem to try and get out of it. You've got to get out in the next second, 6 seconds or whatever it is. Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's great having that protection there, but think it through. Come on.
Yeah.
It's not. It probably is. I'm just saying.
But the IndyCar looks very good actually with it, and I think that's the thing. We're now getting a little bit more IndyCar coverage, to be fair, through Sky Sports. They were covering some of it, some of the races, in fact, maybe even all the races actually, and I saw some of them. But it's quite interesting because maybe our viewers and our listeners will be able to guide us on this. There's quite a big difference between the top guys and the ones at the back. Seems I know that in Formula One, obviously you've got the quick cars and the slow cars, and obviously the best drivers.
Thing, I guess, is it the investment they can put in really makes a difference,
But you could almost see some of the drivers really struggling, especially if it's like half wet conditions. If it's a bit ropey, but because sometimes they tend to red flag the races if it's really wet. But if it's a little bit of rain, and depending on the circuit they're on, I think if it's ovals, they tend to cancel them because it's too dangerous with the speed.
I mean, come on,
it's crazy.
I remember Mark Blundell talking to, I think it was Blundell because he did IndyCar racing, didn't he? He had a big accident. And he was talking to Johnny Herbert, who'd smashed his ankles up anyway. And he was talking about going to Indy 500. Mark Blundell was saying, listen, mate, if you you come off and smash into the wall there, your feet are going to come off because they're already damaged. It's dangerous. They're doing 240, 250 mile an hour on some of those ovals.
Yeah.
Next to a wall. They're inches away from a wall. So I know there's a lot of sort of, shall we say, European snobbery about stuff like the Indy cars and karts and all that kind of thing. In the same way, to be fair, that there's a lot of American snobbery about F1 and it being European and rubbish. There's that stuff going on. But it's hard. When you're threading, you're doing 240 mile an hour with nowhere near as much downforce as you get on the Formula One car, approaching that bend. Suddenly, that massive, big banked bend isn't quite as easy as it was. As you think. Yeah, it's a big bend, but at 240 mile an hour, it ain't. It's like.
I know, it's quite a thing, isn't it? I think it's bravery to the extreme, because especially on these ovals, because I've been to Daytona and I've seen the oval there, and that's quite a thing, But the cars, you would have loved it, Andrew, because you can do the tour, and they've got the proper NASCAR sounds. And the first time I was there, you could actually drive them for $150. You could drive a NASCAR racing car around the Daytona circuit. It was like a kind of arrive and drive. And imagine the accident you could have with that. Yeah, they'll do travel insurance cover. Well, I was driving at 200 miles an hour and I went into the wall.
One of the favourite things, I like that Robbie Coltrane documentary series he did, 6 programs, and he was doing the V8 because he likes his big American V8 cars. He drives them around Loch Lomond, where he lives. And he was in America looking at NASCAR and that style of stuff, and he got to go in one, 500 horsepower. And the thing I loved about it is that it was almost the antithesis of the technology of Formula One. Yeah, the light and the setup and they're designed for that thing, but it was a carburetor-fed V8 pumping out 500 horsepower, and it sounded wonderful. And you can tell how much Robbie Coltrane is a proper petrol head nut job like we are, because he's in this thing, and this woman's the instructor. And she's doing all the American stuff, good job, all this kind of thing. She goes, can I start it with the helmet off, he said, so I can hear it better. She goes, yeah, you won't, but it won't make any difference. You go definitely.
I'm amazed he could fit in, because they're really hard to get into those cars.
He wasn't quite as big as he is now, but he was.
Still.
Yeah, there's somehow they got him in there, and when he started it, he's going. He was dribbling. I love this. And
the sound's incredible. We were on this little truck that was pulling a kind of trailer full of seats, and we were in this kind of going round bits of the track, and then you could just see it going. And I thought, I've got to do that the next time I come. I've got to go and have a shot in a NASCAR or some kind of thing like that. It'd be amazing. But seemingly, a lot of guys go to America to do motorsport because it's an awful lot cheaper. When we were there, it was April 2018. And there was the Ferrari show, which was completely random. We didn't even know it was on in Celebration, which is just near International Drive in kind of Orlando, just on the outskirts, really. And so we thought, fantastic. We love the town of Celebration. That's the town that Disney built about 30 years ago, and now it's all privately owned, and they all sold it off. But it's not like what you think. It's actually an amazing town. Every house is like something out of Desperate Housewives, white picket fence and these beautiful balconies, and it's just done to immaculate. I mean, it's almost too nice to be real. It has that kind of.
What's that? Ted Danson and
what was that when he
interesting thingy comedy that's on at the moment? Perfectville or Perfect Town or something like that. Where
I know what you mean.
She's a git, but she's gone to heaven, and it's all. It's like that.
Coming back to hunting. To be honest, there's some fantastic houses in the whole place, and they're really lovely people and amazing architecture, and they've actually done it really well. But you won't find a bit of litter. It's nowhere in Britain. It is completely clean. Everything's, and it's lovely and warm, and it's palm trees, and it's just lovely. And there's a lake in the middle that you can walk around. In fact, one of the times we were there was one of the women who have just had young children. They had a whole group of them doing exercise. And they had their the chairs, the baby chairs, the prams, and they were running. They all ran past us on this track round the lake, and they were all doing the running with the prams and things. So it was amazing. But during that time in celebration, we got kind of distracted there in Orlando, but because it was in celebration, they had the Ferrari show. They had their yearly Ferrari get together. So we went to that, and it was amazing. They had all the Ferraris. They had the Maserati. Now, is it the Gran Turismo Cup car? And it was done in the same livery as, the animation Cars, the kind of children, the Disney animation that was called Cars. Yeah, they had that animation on this big Maserati. And they had all the Ferraris, like the FF, they had the Enzos, they had amazing stuff that came up. I mean, it was mouth-watering. I took some video of it on my Facebook page a while ago. They had the new Bugatti Chiron. They had all sorts of stuff that turned up. And you got the beautiful weather American women that were all in their attire for sponsored by the companies.
I mean, in their attire.
Well, maybe perhaps not much of an attire, but it was still in.
I don't know if you've noticed, we've had a few ants pointed a few things out, and we've got
oh yes, and Jonathan as well.
A
political mind.
Yeah, thank you.
that's Jonathan.
Coffee, okay.
That's Jonathan. Aye. Yes, so he's saying that, he says we can actually get an IndyCar because we're chunky enough and we enjoy KFC.
Fair enough.
So we can.
But I want a comment on what is woman's attire in America? Is it different to woman's attire anywhere else?
Well, put it this way. My wife said you were not.
Now. You're Baywatch, aren't you?
Well, it wasn't. It was very, very tight, kind of leathery, kind of tight stuff in a very hot conditions. That showed all the wrinkles, but it was, and I remember walking past, and my wife said, "You're not stopping here to speak to them." It was like, so I was
wrinkles.
Let's just say the wrinkles in every curve you can imagine. So it was, So yes, I was probably moved on, But
American woman in mind now that waddled on. Eating the KFC and the donuts.
Yeah, no, these ladies do not eat KFC or have any wrinkles as such. It was
ones where it's all a bit sort of.
They were stunningly beautiful and also very enthusiastic, and they kept wanting to give you things like leaflets, and they would come over and talk to you, and it was lovely. I always thought I should get a selfie, with them, but I thought that might not go down well.
That might constitute being shot.
Yeah.
Somebody go. Congeniality, where she rugby tackles a fella because he's wearing a gun.
Yeah.
Says, "This is Texas. Everyone's wearing a gun." That's a great line. I love that.
So but people go to do back to the motorsport related content. They go to America because in south of Florida there are quite a few racetracks. So there's plenty people have and there's also a big rally place.
I drove through Sebring on the way back up to Orlando because we were in Weston, near Fort Lauderdale. Obviously Daytona's there, but I never got to go there.
Well, that's the north. It's
outdoors.
Daytona's a little bit. You need to be keep your wits about you. It can be a wee bit dodgy in places.
We drove to Miami. we went into a Dunkin' Donuts, and we got some donuts. But it's the weirdest thing because I struggled to get my head around how American towns and cities are constructed, because in Britain and in Germany and in France and in all these other places there's a centre and then there's suburban places outside of it, and you kind of know you go to the centre, you go shopping. Nah, not over there like that, is it? You shop in a mall or shopping bit, and then you try and find the centre of Miami, and there isn't one. There's big buildings. You're driving around going,
there'll be lots of malls. There'll be a big mall off one of the main streets near the beach, I think, isn't it?
Well, this was just like 3 or 4 shops in this little car park thing by a crossroads. All of a sudden, one of our party went into the liquor store at the end to buy something. I don't know what, I don't care. Came back and said, "We better leave now," because the guy's just been threatening the fella behind the counter, saying, "I'm going to come back in a minute and sort you out. We're going." So we got unlocked all the doors. Boom, off we went. As this big 4x4 with a bunch of really big guys pulled in to do whatever the hell they were going to do we didn't want to be around.
goodness! So
Yeah.
you have to watch out. I think the main bit's near the strip and near the beach is probably okay. But I think if you get further out, it can't be a bit ropey. You just have to
buy a Baywatch lady for sitting too close to the dunes.
All right.
I mean, she shouted at me about 3 or 4 times because I kept moving away. I wasn't moving far enough or something, or I don't know.
All right.
Maybe shoot me. I don't know. But, yeah. Right. Alex asked us a question.
Oh, that's Ant has asked us a question.
Birmingham was going to do a street circuit next year with Formula E. But
yes.
If it's Yorkshire, it's Formula E by gum. But as it's Birmingham, it's Formula E in it. But they have cancelled it. Do you think the UK should do more street circuits? Depends if they want to get nicked by the police.
Well, I do remember they used to do a lot more in Birmingham. They used to do a lot of racing in Birmingham.
3,000.
Yes.
There would be something around the bullring, wasn't it? Donkeys years ago.
Yeah.
And then
I always thought
they do it. Yam should know. We need. Sorry, that's yam.
But I always thought Edinburgh would make a fantastic circuit because you've got Princess Street, you've got the Mound, you've got all that bit, you see, and you've got the meadows at the back, so you've got a great bit there.
Follow the route of the tourist bus that takes you around the whole of the Golden Mile. That was amazing. Go right the way up, back down again, round the Parliament, by Arthur's Seat, back again. That would be a fantastic race, that would.
Yeah.
Imagine you're on top of Arthur's Seat with binoculars.
You could see that, yeah.
Whole thing. It'd be like being at Monaco and getting a €14 ticket to sit on the side of the hill.
Well, I'll try and say it wasn't me. It wasn't me. But in days gone by, when I had an Alfa Romeo saloon for a few days, a relations old car, let's just say, the Arthur Seat was kind of seen as a special stage, and it was before now they've got speed limits and speed bumps and everything else. But
speed bumps, that's the problem.
And in this Alpha, it was what was the one? It was the saloon. It was done in the late 155. I had a 155, and it was 2-liter 16 valve thing. Twin spark, amazing car. Honestly, literally, you had one turn of wheel to get the thing going round full lock just about. It was incredible. And I remember going up. I wish we'd kept it because it was such a good. Yeah, we had it was. I mean, it was such a good car, and the noise coming out of that thing was amazing.
They did a Cloverleaf Turbo because that was the one they used in the European touring car championship.
Yeah, and the one I wanted my dad to get was the Silverstone. They did a 155 Silverstone. It was all red, and it was done in the touring car livery, and it was a special edition that Alfa Romeo did in the probably mid-90s, maybe mid to late 90s. It was quite a machine. But then, of course, it was Gabriele Tarquini racing around in Knockhill and other places and going end over end. On a street circuit, Edinburgh. Well, that bit, let's just say Arthur Seat was. I don't think anyone's gone quicker around there than perhaps I may have done.
Funny how things work out because you may have picked up that I'm a slight fan of Alfa Romeo. I don't know. Did you get that?
Possibly.
For people who may not have heard me go on, they're quite good, and I like them. Even the rubbish ones,
but they're good. They're even better now.
They're getting a lot better. But nothing looks as good as a really nice Alfa Romeo. The correct Alfa Romeo Rosso Corsa. It's slightly darker. It's darker than the Ferrari one.
See, they need to bring back the Alfa Romeo, the Alfa Sud, because that was a classic car of the 70s and the 80s. Yeah, yes. They need to bring something like because they had the small Alfa Romeo Mito, but it never really took off. It was basically a Punto in dress. It didn't really. Yes, it wasn't brilliant. But if they could have the design of the Sud, which was so nice because it wasn't plain, but it was just. It felt kind of fragile. It felt so thin and but it was so light.
Super light in those days as well, and that box was lovely.
Yeah, something like that would be an amazing racing car.
What I was going to say is that Alphas, not many 4-pot engines sound good to me, but the Alphas always do.
Yeah.
They have a character sound to them, and like for the boxer engines also. Again, they're just Everyone loves the
Yeah.
Subaru sound because it's that pop, 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 pop thing. Well, the
Yeah.
Alfa, they were more heavy. They were.
Yeah.
It sounded
They were good.
like they got Pavarotti in to teach the engine how to sit.
Well, in one of their old Grand Prix cars, way back in, I think it was in the 30s or even earlier, they actually got a church minister who was an engineer for he was a specialist in the organs, for the pipes in the organs. And the Alfa Romeo took a lesson of how to make an exhaust pipe like an organ pipe. So you got the best sound, you see, and that's how they tuned their exhausts to make the car sound amazing.
Nothing sounds like the old straight 8 Alpha 158, 159. I mean, it's a 1.5 litre engine, which towards the end of its life was pushing on 500 horsepower, supercharged in 19. I mean, this is what it was so thirsty. The only reason it didn't, well, I was about to say the only reason it didn't win more, it won every race it entered from 46 to 51. So, stupid thing to say, really. But it just. Straight 8. Vittorio Iano designed. Well, he had a hand in the design of that one. He was retiring when that one was put. But it was Ferrari. It was a Ferrari car.
Yeah.
And Ferrari, and I can't remember the name of the engineer that actually designed it. But post World War II, when they found those 7 of them in the cheese factory, they'd been dismantled and hidden in the cheese factory. They needed to be put back together. Well. Ferrari and this he actually put them back together for Alfa Romeo because they were. My
goodness!
So this, Alfa Romeo and Ferrari. People go, well, why are they together? Why has the new Alfa Giulia got a Ferrari engine in it? He always had Ferrari engine. Vittorio Iano and Enzo Ferrari did his apprenticeship with Alfa Romeo. He started as a racing driver with Alfa Romeo. He recruited the likes of. I've forgotten the names. The really famous ones. Father and son.
Oh, I wouldn't know.
He was best mates with the guy that had the cloverleaf.
Ah, right.
Who Uto Binotti or something like that.
All right. On a very quick diversion, but Alfa Romeo related, you can get a Giulia Quadrifoglio now for less than 40 grand. There are some secondhand ones on Auto Trader now in Britain for 39,995. I mean, for 510 horsepower, that's a Ferrari basically in that car, and it's one of the best cars. It's won awards every year.
Save money because you never need a stereo. Why would you? You just turn the engine on and go.
So for the sake of what's that in dollars? It'd be $55,000, something like that.
£2.50.
You know, it would be, well, if it's £40,000, what's that? It'd be about maybe 150, about 53,000, for about $1.30 at the moment. So for about $53,000, you can get yourself a Ferrari with a badge of an Alfa Romeo.
Car. In any way, there's only one thing wrong with that car.
What's that? Because it's automatic. But you've got flappy paddles.
I hate them.
Oh, I love them.
God.
I love them.
And you need to put your clutch down and you do that. That's what you do. That's driving.
Yeah, but then it breaks. It breaks, and then it works.
That computer goes bleh. What happens if the computer goes bleh? I was watching, we talked about Harry Metcalf, the guy that founded Evo magazine, and he's now retired. He was the chief of that, and he does a YouTube channel which are fantastic as a car channel. Garage. If you watch it, you can tell he's a proper enthusiast. He's a farmer that really loves his cars, and he's made a bit of money from all this stuff, and he's got a collection of cars. And he does mad things like the one I've just watched is him taking a 1969 Rolls Royce that he bought for £3,000 off of eBay to the Arctic Circle.
Goodness me.
And another one he did was taking a Ferrari Testarossa to reenact something they did in Evo magazine. One of their chief writers, who's a good mate of his now, drove something. I can't remember. I think it might have been a Testarossa, it might be something else, down to the edge of the Sahara in Morocco. So he did the same with Testarossa, a proper Testarossa that he's got his car. Both times they broke down a bit. Things, the points went a bit funny on the roller. It's -15 and it's having trouble. The choke's having trouble setting properly and this kind of thing. If you had a modern car and something went wrong with it, you could do nothing. it just impressed me that he's there with his toolkit, fiddling around
and fixing.
Yeah, off we go. You can't do that now. Now it's very clever. It's amazing stuff. But I want something a bit robust. That's why I was so impressed with that the big V8 that Robbie Coltrane was sat in with carbs and this kind of stuff. You can look at it and go, right, what's wrong with this? Or what can we do to improve this? It's stuff you can fix and do, and that's why it sounds better, because it's not strangled by some computer.
You know. No, that's the thing. That's the thing. Well, we're ready, kind of get ready to round up the show, because would you believe it? We've been going for nearly an hour, which is fantastic. Wow, and it's been really, really good. And we will put this out as a podcast, and it will go out again as a live stream. And we'll update the descriptions and things like that. Remember our special affiliate, because for all you gamers out there, and I know that Jonathan's listening in the background, he needs to use my affiliate link, which is on it will be on the YouTube comments as well. For this one, or it should be, but I will put it in as well in the description, which is the CD keys. Now, I think this works as well in America too. So if you take the link there, you can get your PlayStation Plus membership, which normally costs about £50 in Britain, for just £36.87, I think it is, or thereabouts, saving over £12. You need to have it if you're going to play it online with PlayStation, and they could do the same for the kind of Xbox. They have all different offers on pretty much every kind of racing simulator platform we have, and it helps to support the show. And if you like it, you can leave some comments, like and share. It'd be great to get more and more viewers and listeners to the show. But a big thanks to you, Andrew. It's been fantastic tonight.
Pleasure.
Stay on the line. Stay on the line. I'll have a chat to you in a couple of minutes there. But to all our listeners and viewers, thank you so much for being with us tonight on the Car Sim and Race Driver Show. And it's over to Andrew for the motto.
Well, you need to drive fast, but try not to crash.
Fantastic. It's been a pleasure to be on the show tonight with you all. Have a great week, and we'll see you soon. Bye just now.